Way to go. So we're live. Welcome to day 5 of the From Employed to
This is
Entrepreneur.
exciting.
Welcome to day 5 of the From Employed to Entrepreneur Success Series. And our guest today is Krishna Sanz, full of energy as always.
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Hey, Colin, what's poppin'?
Wow, I love the energy. You, it's all about you. We'll jump into Krishna and learn about her story of entrepreneurship and how she's done this. She took the leap twice, from employed to entrepreneur 2 times. We learned the lessons that she learned and tips that she can share with us. Some housekeeping. I'm Colin Yearwood, the host of this From Employed to Entrepreneur series, success series. And I'm super excited I've been able to do this over the last 5 days. A lot of great stories, a lot of great tips, a lot of great how to make it possible for you, and also help reframe the expectations we have as we pursue entrepreneurship. You can find me over at colinyearwood.com, where you'll find more information about that. And I'm quite sure in the comments below or the description above, you'll see some links. Click on them and connect with us in the From Employed to Entrepreneur community. Krishna, it's good to have you on.
I am so fired up and excited to be here. Thank you. And thank you very much for making me the last one. I think we're going to close this out with a bang. I'm ready.
Wow, I didn't want to set the expectations that high, but you just did. So let's dive in. So tell everyone a little bit about you and where you are in your entrepreneurship journey right now.
Yeah, I am Krishna Sanz. I am from an island called St. Lucia, if you guys can hear the accent. Yeah, I'm just an island girl in this country, America, just trying to live the dream out. And I'm just so super excited to be here to take on the opportunity and not let a day go by. Just every single day living up towards getting towards closer to my dreams. So yeah, that's where I am. I'm in the financial services business where I get to help people by teaching them about money, how to make money, how to save money, and the basic stuff that everyone needs to know when it comes to their finances and their personal stuff. And yeah, I've been in business for about 5 years now and still grinding, still going. So that's pretty much where I am.
Nice. So right off the bat, what is one thing that you wish you knew sooner about entrepreneurship?
I dreaded that question. So I came from the corporate world. I worked in the hospitality field for 15 years. And I will tell you guys, I personally thought that I slayed in that business. I did really well with managing large teams of 40, 60 people most times. And then when I switched over into entrepreneurship, I thought it was going to be as simple as managing teams of people, not realizing that there's a lot more that goes into entrepreneurship. So one thing I wish I had learned a long time ago is controlling my emotions. Oh my God, I think it's one thing to know the ins and outs of your niche or business. But I did not realize that with entrepreneurship, so much of it is based on emotions, how we feel every single day when we're growing our business. And so for the longest time, I struggled with that roller coaster of dealing with the highs and the lows that comes with entrepreneurship. So to answer your question, if I knew how to control my emotions a long time ago, I could imagine where I would have been by now. But hey, that's all part of the process, right?
Absolutely. So what have you learned over the years and controlling your emotions that we can learn, that you can share with us?
I'm a Cancer. I was born in July. So naturally, apparently, we're very emotional people. I mean, Colin, we could be having a conversation and in one go, I could cry 1 second and laugh the next minute. And so with entrepreneurship, especially when things don't go your way, I could have a real high when things are going great. But when things aren't going so great, and there are going to be lots of days where things don't go great, I used to find that it would take me, sometimes when I first started out in business, it would take me a good week or 2 weeks to get over a bad day, just for me to get back into momentum to do what I have to do in business. But I've learned over time where I'm now able to take it from 2 weeks down to 1 week, down to now a few minutes. And it takes practice. It takes a certain mindset, a certain skill set to get there. It's not an easy thing. So for any of you who's on here watching this, and maybe you're an entrepreneur yourself, I don't know if you can relate, but what I have learned is that it's only human. It's a natural way to feel, especially going through a journey where you're not used to it. Maybe you're brand new in entrepreneurship, and that was the case with me. But yeah, just like skill sets, it's something that can be learned to be able to control emotions better, so we could quickly move on to getting the work done, as opposed to staying in that rut for too long.
Nice. So let's go back a little bit of where you're coming from. So you mentioned you were in corporate for many years, and
Yes.
in the corporate setting, what skill sets that you think that you've leveraged from what you've learned in corporate in your current business?
To be honest, a lot of it, like I mentioned to you, I was in the hospitality field, and I was very fortunate where in my roles in hospitality, I got to deal with people every single day. I could imagine just how many people over the course of 15 years I've had to interact with, whether it be staff members or people on my team or, guests as they come through those different hotels. And I am just so grateful up to now when I look back, now that I'm in this business, that I'm able to use the people part from what I've learned with hospitality, learning how to deal with different personalities, learning, more about people, and that there are different personalities when you deal with people, cultures, and just certain things that play a role in how people behave. And so now in business, when I get to deal with people, whether it be teammates or clients, as I come across those people, I have noticed that just the skill sets over 15 years of being in hospitality, that, thank God, has been an easy transition to now deal with people in my business. I have noticed that a lot of people, unfortunately, when you've not been in a certain, maybe a niche or an area where you have to deal with people a lot of people struggle, first of all, with now learning how to cope with people to be able to make a sale. Luckily for me, I already knew how to deal with people, again, having that hospitality background.
Nice. So talk about your first venture into entrepreneurship. What was that like for you? What kind of business it was?
Oh gosh. I honestly think I was always an entrepreneur in the sense where, and I'm not even going to go too far, but when I was married, my ex-husband and I talked a whole lot about, getting in business for ourselves. And when I decided to separate, we were at the point of getting in, having a restaurant together in Brooklyn, New York. But even before that, we were already landlords where we had tenants dealing with 3 sets of tenants in the building that we managed. So I knew that entrepreneurship was a thing for me. I did not go too far with that. When I got out of my marriage, I decided to give that up. But luckily, when I moved down here to Florida, I was still in the hospitality niche at the time, and I got introduced to the finance world, which I'm gonna, at some point explain a little more to you. But all in all, in terms of going in fully with entrepreneurship, yes, I got a taste for it in my marriage, just a snippet. But because I walked away from that marriage, I pretty much had to start all over again. And so the finance business is where I got a full taste of entrepreneurship.
What is it about finance that attracted you to that space?
If I could be absolutely honest with you, I don't think it was necessarily finance that attracted me to the space. A little bit of my background or a little bit of my story. And you already know this with me, Colin, but I'm a true believer in God. And I believe that He has certain plans and mapped out for us as, children in this world. And I remember a particular day being in hospitality where I was just so fed up, so frustrated with where I was. A little bit of my story is that, again, I came from St. Lucia, and I just felt just so blessed to be in this country, a country where, the sky's the limit. And I remember one particular day just feeling stuck. Yes, I was good at what I did for 15 years, and I would think automatically you would be good after 15 years. But I felt like I was going nowhere fast. And so, long story short, I remember praying about wanting more. I had big dreams. I had big goals for myself. I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I knew I needed a vehicle to get there. And so I was very blessed and fortunate where that vehicle ended up becoming finance. So it's not that I went out there seeking finance. I feel with praying enough, God sent me that vehicle, and I just so happened to jump on the bandwagon. Now, as I got into the business, as I learned the ropes, as I kept on digging in, the passion came. But at first, it was not like, oh my God, I have a passion for finance. Let me go learn about finance and then start this business. Finance found me. I took on the opportunity, and as I grew in the business, the passion came.
Nice. It's a little bit different for most people, right? Most people try to find the passion and use that to build a business around.
Yeah.
Was it timing for you? Like, and I think you said, you felt that you needed to move. What gave you that? I know you mentioned you're a believer, which is awesome. But I was going to ask, what gave you that faith to believe that this was a vehicle for you?
I think you started asking the question. I do believe in timing, yes.
Mhm.
I had gotten opportunities prior to 5 years ago when I said yes to this opportunity to get into entrepreneurship. But at the time, I was working my way up in management. And so I had blinders on where all I was seeing is what I had in front of me. I was working my way up in corporate, and that's all I wanted at the time. So opportunity came, but the timing was off for me. And so it had to take 8 years later where the timing was better, where certain things had already happened in life to get me frustrated enough to now that my blinders were off, when opportunity came a second time around, I was able to see it and jump on the bandwagon. So I'm a strong believer that when timing and opportunity meets, that's when the fireworks happen. Unfortunately, a lot of us out there, we want more, but if the timing is not right, it's not right. For a lot of people, it's not that, it's necessarily a no that they don't want to be entrepreneurs. It could just be a not now situation. So I definitely believe that timing is a huge factor when it comes to, where you're going in life and entrepreneurship on a whole.
So let's talk about timing and how you built your business. So you got into entrepreneurship. Talk about the first 2 years in entrepreneurship.
Oh my gosh. The first year was awesome. I mean, the first year was an eye-opener. So I prepared myself for entrepreneurship. Thank God I had a hefty nest of, money put aside. I had sold my property in New Jersey when I moved down here to Florida. So I had some money put aside. And so when I got the opportunity to get into business for myself, I decided to quit everything that I knew. 15 years of being in hospitality, because at that time I was fed up anyway. I was ready to resign at the time when I got the opportunity to get into the finance business. I did not know where I was going to go, what I was going to do. And again, timing was perfect for me. And so when I got the opportunity to get into this business, I was like, hell yeah, why not? I was going to quit my job anyway. So I quit everything that I knew and I jumped in wholeheartedly. I mean, I blocked my nose, can't even breathe. Oh, not breathe, can't barely swim, guys. But I held my nose, jumped in that water, could barely swim, but I started treading water. And after the first year, of course, money goes away quick when there's not money coming in. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people misunderstand is that, yes, it's great to see people that are already succeeding in their businesses, but it takes time to make money when you're starting off brand new in any sector, in any business at all, because it takes, and that's what I did not realize. Well, I'm coming from hospitality, which I already knew for 15 years, but now I'm entering a whole different world, working a business on my own. So now I don't have teams of 30, 40 people that I could manage and tell what to do. I have to figure everything on my own. So now I have to learn new skill sets. I now have to figure out this whole mental situation that I had going on, learning to deal with my emotions. And so the first year was a roller coaster, just a hot mess of, oh my God, what did I do? And there was so much of am I making the right decision? I started going into, do I feel like I'm regretting doing this? Because the money is, depleting and going down, and I have no money coming in at the same time because I was not equipped enough to make money in my business. I was just learning the ropes of business. And so the first year was just, which led me to my second year. I had to go back to work a regular job, guys, because I ran out of money while I was figuring out my business.
Well, oh, wow. That's not unusual, but was it difficult for you to go back to, did you go back to the same company, first of all? Did you go back to the same company?
I did not, thank God.
But it was talk about the process of going back into a traditional working environment after experiencing a year of your own business.
I think my depression, I wouldn't say depressed, I don't want to use that word. But after you've gotten that sweet taste, and that's the beauty of entrepreneurship. Sure, the money was not there yet, but I had gotten a taste of what it was like to wake up on my own time, to not have a boss call me and say, hey, it's 9 a.m. Where are you? You're running late. I could go to the supermarket whenever I wanted. And so I had gotten a taste of time freedom, even though I did not already have, the money freedom part to it. And so it was very difficult when I had to go back to a job. I did not go back to the same job. As a matter of fact, I had to get somewhat of a demotion, if I could say that. When I reapplied for work, I had gone from almost being a director in food and beverage, and I looked for a job where I was a supervisor. And I had a hard time getting a job because most people looked at my resume like, why would you be applying for a supervisor job when you're quite capable of being a director? And I didn't want to explain that to them, that I was actually working my business and I just needed a way to bring in money fast. But it was really tough. It was tough. I had to put the pride aside. I had moments where I was kind of embarrassed, where I told everyone I was quitting my job to go do this business and I was going to make it big. And then I had to call my family or my mom and say, hey, I'm just on the road heading to work now, to have to explain why I'm heading to work when I started this business that I was so excited for. So it was a mix of emotions of kind of regret that I jumped maybe in all at once, not knowing the expectations. There was a sense of pride in a way where I can't believe I'm going back to exactly what I left, and the worst part is when you're leaving, you're telling everybody bye, good luck with what you guys got going on. I'm about to go make life for myself, only to have to see those people again, like, hey, Krishna, what happened? Guys, I had to go back to work. It's what I had to do.
Wow. But that takes a lot of courage.
It did.
And it looked like you went back to work with a different plan.
Yes.
Talk about deciding on the type of work you're going to go back to and how you planned on using that job now in a way to grow your business.
So when I went back to work, I had a whole different attitude about me. When I had the regular job before I got into entrepreneurship, it was more of going in, doing the mundane, did not see a way out, or had not seen the light or the vehicle again that would have gotten me to the dreams and goals that I had in mind. And so the second time when I went back to work, because I had already gotten a taste for entrepreneurship or had kind of sort of seen the light, the attitude was, whatever, I'm here to do this job, get a paycheck, but understand that I have a way out. That was the vibe about me. My head was uplifted a certain way. My whole demeanor was a different way because I knew I had a way out. I was only there in the moment for a short period of time to make money, to pay my bills. And the main reason I had to go back to make money to pay bills, it's because entrepreneurship can be stressful. There are definitely stressful moments in it with, again, the ups and downs of the roller coaster that comes with it. And I just did not appreciate, or I did not care to have the extra pressure of knowing that bills were due on my shoulder, on my back while I was growing my business. And so when I spoke to people, when I prospected, I found that I had a desperation about me because I was so eager to making money. And so when I went back to work and I knew the bills were being taken care of, I started having more fun in my business because there was not that immediate pressure of I needed to make money right now. So to answer your question, all in all, I went back to work with a plan to be there for a certain period of time because I had also given myself a deadline to be there to get to the next level in business where I was making a certain amount of money to be able to then have to quit that job all over again.
How long did you last the second time around? How long were you there?
The second time around, there's so many ins and outs with these stories. The second time around, Colin, I was in a job for 3 months. And again, because I had gotten a taste for entrepreneurship, my level of tolerance with what comes with a job, with the naysayers, the negativity, and especially with being in finance, being around a team of people that are so positive all the time, a bunch of winners that always want to see you move and win in life, it was very difficult for me to go back to a regular job. I remember one particular time when I went back to that job. It was a PM shift that I was working. I had just come from a meeting in my finance office. Everyone was high-fiving each other, cheering each other on, congratulating each other on activities that we had done for that particular month. And I went to that job that afternoon and I walked in and I had two servers that were fighting over a $5 tip because one took the money away from each other. And I'm like, how am I even here again? And so I lasted in that job for 3 months. 3 months because I just was not willing to deal with that. And then I had to go get another job, of course. So I left being a supervisor and I became a receptionist at a spa. Don't even ask me how that happened. Again, just doing anything to hold myself up, to bring money in as I was focused on growing my business.
Well, you definitely made it work because you went back full time in your business. So let's talk about the planning to make the exit the second time. What went into your planning that made it work for you so far the second time? You've been out for 2 years now?
Yes. So I love the word planning here. I definitely think it's something that everyone has to do. The road to entrepreneurship or through entrepreneurship is not the same for everyone. Luckily for me, I am in the finance business, and I'm very fortunate that I now know how to handle money. It was not the case for me prior to getting into finance. And so my picture was not as simple as painting red on a board, and that was just it. I tried to go back to a job while I was working my business on the side. But I will be very frank, me, my personality, my type A personality, I just was not able to balance the two. And especially with me dealing with emotions, that was one of the main areas, the critical areas that I had a challenge with. And so to answer your question, Colleen, for me personally, what worked all together, it was not working a job for a year or two to have another set of money saved up. Instead, I figured that would have taken me too long because I would have had to work another year or two to save up the lump sum of money that I needed to be able to quit my job. And so I needed something a little more permanent, that in the event it took me 20 years to grow my business, that I did not have to work constantly to have to be putting money aside. So what I started doing for myself is I started downgrading. So instead of making more money to pay bills, I started trying to figure out where I could eliminate bills so that the money that my partner and I were bringing home would have been sufficient. And so altogether, the way that it has been able to work for me, or especially at that particular time where I knew for sure I did not want to be in a job at all. I didn't care how much money they were willing to pay me. I just felt every day that I was in a job, it could have been those 8 hours that I could have been putting into my business. And so I knew that was not going to work for me. And not only that, even though I was a supervisor or just a front office agent or whatever, helping in a spa, by the time I got home, I was just exhausted, and mentally I was not there to grow my business. So again, I knew that angle was not going to work for me. So all in all, what the game plan was to eliminate bills wherever I could. We cut out cable. I didn't have to pay that anymore. We had 2 cars at home. We got rid of 1 car because now I was able to work at home more. So that's already $700 of bills that we cut out. So the car went out the window. The insurance for the car went out of the window, and we started cutting bills in certain areas. So now the income my partner was bringing home was enough to sustain us, that if it took me 20 years to build a business, I could comfortably grow my business. So if you're not able to make more money, I say strongly, especially coming out of finance, find ways to get rid of debt. And that's what's helped me with the game plan to come up with up to now, to be able to enjoy growing a business without the pressures of having to pay bills and the pressures of needing to make a certain amount of money.
That's one way to do it, right? So you can do it both ways. You can save, which you've done, and
Yes.
then the second side, you actually eliminated. Now you went back full time into entrepreneurship, running your business. What has changed for you that's making it work this time around? From the first time when you look back to the first time you've done it to now, and it was a span of about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
What changed in you? How did you change to make it work this time around?
I could definitely say in business, a huge factor that contributed over all this time is personal development. You know, day in, day out, reading books, day in, day out, elevating the way of thinking. And I've found that as I elevate my thinking, creativity flows, questions to answers come in. And so one thing that has changed in the first year when I went into business, it was just kind of trying to figure it out the best I knew. And at that point, of course, coming out of corporate America, all I knew was all I knew. And so after years of personal development, I started looking for more creative ways to build a business, ways that I could have more fun with building a business. And one thing that's come out of that is I have now been able to implement social media to grow my business. And that's something that I did not do in the beginning of business. I tried to do things the old school way, you know, brick and mortar, walk the streets, talk to people, you know, that sort of thing, pass out business cards, the typical way of, you know, being an entrepreneur. And not that that doesn't work. It does work because I did see a level of success with that. It's just I needed a better way. And so I feel like had I not gone into the personal development of trying to think on the next level of how I could become better, nothing would have changed. And so it was because of that I eventually got myself on social media. And now I'm just having a blast growing my business, man. I just wish I knew how to do that the first year.
But everything is growth through personal development. I know a lot of people we've talked to on this series talk about the importance of personal development. Do you have a specific personal development routine that you share with your team, or did you use as you started to dive into that?
Do I have a specific? No, not anything specific per se. I encourage people to read, for sure. Read what makes sense to you. Read what aligns with where you're going. Read from people who have accomplished what you want out of life and learn from them. So in terms of the specifics, I don't think there's necessarily a specific. You kind of have to figure out who you are, what you want, and align yourself with those authors or those people that have put out amazing content, that whether it be through videos, through YouTube. I mean, I'm constantly searching through YouTube, Facebook, books, anything that aligns with where I'm trying to go. Give it to me. I'm going to read it. I'm going to listen to it. I don't think it's any necessarily particular thing.
Knowing you've created a process that allows you to have to be effective on a consistent basis in your business, right? And I know a lot of times, for me personally, when I first got into entrepreneurship 3 years ago, full-time entrepreneurship 3 years ago, the first 6 months I wasted a lot of time because I didn't have a process. I did 2-hour lunches and long walks and all that kind of thing. Oh, you're guilty of that too. Talk about how you went about developing a process, and even share some of your process that allows you to show up in an impactful way in your business every single day, or very often. I know you show up very often.
Yeah, you're right. I was one to take long strolls because, again, it comes with the time freedom. And I think for anybody who has not had that time freedom, we all go through it. We go through that phase of, woohoo! Oh my God, I can't believe I could do whatever I want with my day. And in the beginning, I found that I used to do nothing at all with the day except lounge around. I mean, my friends would be at work and I'm here at the pool taking photos to show people that I was at the pool on a Tuesday afternoon when there was nothing being done. And so I had to get back into the mindset still of being the thing is, I had been an employee for so long. And I was a stellar employee because I was on a schedule. If I punched into work at 7, my boss expected a certain amount of work to be done from 7 to 12 before I went on my break. And then when I came back up until when I punch out. And so I had to grab not only the people skills that I had gotten from hospitality, but certain things like learning to get on a schedule, because especially when you're in entrepreneurship, you're on your own. I mean, if you don't move that ship, if you don't get that sail going, the boat's not moving. And so I had to continue implementing things that I had learned from being an employee. And number one was getting myself on a schedule. So I started waking up a certain time, doing personal development. I was done out of the gym by 7 a.m. for me to sit on my computer by 8:30 after I had breakfast. And I would not get up, pretend that I was in a regular job, not for a period of time until work was done. And so having a daily method of operation is something that I developed over time, that you just can't do work just however. You need to kind of know your numbers. You need to know how much work you need to do, and not just busy doing just anything. You need to know the money-making activities and focus on that within the scheduled time that you're giving yourself to get it done on a daily basis. So when I get on my computer calling at 8:30 or 9 a.m., I already know the first thing I need to start on. When that's done, what's the second thing? And until those are done, I'm not getting up to get a break. After break, I need to eat. But when I get off of my break, the work continues. But it really helps to get first on a schedule, or else you're waking up at 10, 11 a.m. and the day's already gone, right? And you could relate, because that used to be the case for me. But not just that, again, knowing the money-making activities, or else I used to have a period of time where I felt like I was working because I read a book the entire day. I did nothing pertaining to work at all. And yes, personal development is good, but again, you need to know, depending on the business that you're in, what those money-making activities are, and come up with a daily method of operation within a certain period of time to get it done.
That's good. Hit a lot of points there. couple of things is understanding the money making activity, right? And drawing, the thing I like to mention is creating a schedule, and drawing on the things we learn in work, at traditional work, and how you can use in entrepreneurship. Now, for you, what are and let's talk specifically about your business and give some people some ideas, right? So let's talk a little bit about the business model that you're in and some of the money making activities that you focus on a regular basis.
Yeah. So my business module is very simple. Again, it's financial services. So the focus of my work is to educate people, because unfortunately we live in a country or system where we're just not being taught about basic principles when it comes to money. So many people live the paycheck to paycheck lives. So many people just have no clue what to do with money. We live in a society where we're taught to go to school, get a good degree, a good job. But when we start making the money, a lot of us are stuck. And so my focus in what I do is to first provide education to people, heart-to-heart conversations, keeping it very basic and very simple, that any average Joe could understand what they need to do to get in a better situation with their finances. And then, of course, on the back end of that, help them with the solutions, whether it be investments or whatever it is they need under the scope of finance. And so now, with that said, part of my daily method of operation is, of course, we're in business. If we're not talking to people about our business, people are not buying. And as long as your mouth is closed as an entrepreneur, understand that people, yes, you could post on Facebook all day long if you want, but if you're not talking to people about what you're offering or how you could change their lives, they're not coming to you. People are not going to raise their hands and say, ooh, me, I'm struggling over here, please help me. And so because I know the importance of constantly having to tell people and let them know how I could possibly change their lives, how I make an impact in other people, or how I've made an impact in other people's lives, and maybe I could do the same for them. Part of my daily method of operation is prospecting, always letting people know, hey, could you possibly be open to taking a look at what I do? Maybe I could help you in your situation.
When it comes to the skill set, if you can put together a list of skills that you use consistently to grow your business, what would that list of skill sets be that you use to build your business as someone who's full-time self-employed?
Yeah, I, from experience, could definitely say one of the things that helps in any business, you gotta, for as long as you need people to grow your business, the number one skill set I would say that anybody needs to learn is one, learning how to talk to humans, learning how to be a human talking to other humans. And I think a lot of us overlook that because so many people, I wouldn't say it's laziness, but so many of us rely on just systems and tools to do the work for us. And there's nothing wrong with that. By all means, leverage that. But if you're not able to have a basic conversation with another human being, to me, there's a lack right there, or a disconnect. So one of the first skill sets, definitely, if you're not a people person or know how to approach people, how to speak to people in a proper way, again, to let them know what you can offer them, then that's definitely something that has to be developed. Another thing is, yes, I got a prospect. So I learned a long time ago how to prospect and the right way to do it. Not necessarily sending a link or, hey, you should go check my website. But again, the proper way to do that. So these are two main things I would say personally, or the skill sets that I've had to learn. Of course, with my business, of course, learning to do a presentation, and not to mention the services itself, knowing about investing, getting those licenses and stuff. But the two main things I would say, definitely you got to learn how to talk to people, because if there aren't conversations being had, then you don't get to the point where you're even able to present or talk to them about what you have to offer. So before getting to the end, I truly believe that the beginning is learning to deal with people and have those conversations.
Nice. So this has been good. We can go forever, but
we can go for it. Yes. Don't let me get a glass of wine. Well, I can't drink wine right now,
take it easy.
And it's Friday.
And it's Friday. We're gonna wrap it up. Let me ask you this question: What is your magic sauce? What is it that makes you special to your clients and to your customers and your team members?
I love that question. That's a great question, Colin. I don't think there's a magic sauce per se. And let me explain what I mean by that. I think every person is unique in their own way, and that's the sauce itself. I don't care what niche you're in. I don't care what business you run. People don't buy your company. People don't buy your business. I have learned a long time ago that people buy people. So if you could be a truly yourself, come out with the smiles. If you're a smiley person, like people mess with me all the time. Like I'm always laughing. I'm always joking around. Like you're already saying, take it easy because you know I'm about to go left with this, because that's just me. And even through prospecting, as I deal with clients, it doesn't matter what part of business that I'm in, whether I'm across a table talking to someone, I truly bring me to the table. I bring this quirky personality. I bring this crazy St. Lucian accent comes out sometimes. And I just truly believe that if you're able to be true to yourself, show your personality, who you are, talk about your beliefs, people buy you. And people don't buy your business or your services or your products, but people buy you.
That's like a perfect soundbite. Thank you so much for being on. Where could we find you online, and so they can get more of this quirky personality and knowledge and all that?
I'm on Facebook, and it's the only platform that I use. I truly believe that just master one, and Facebook is the one that I'm still trying to master. So come on over, Krishna Sanz. Just look for my name in there, and my profile would come up.
Awesome, Krishna. Thanks for joining us on this edition of the From Employed Entrepreneur Success Series. And you wrapped it up strong. This is day 5. It's over, and we finished it. Thank you, guys.
My absolute pleasure. And thank you, Colin, for having me on here. I really appreciate it.
You're absolutely welcome. You're full of such good nuggets. But connect with Krishna, and you'll get even more of those.
Yeah, guys, come on over and connect. Let's talk about finance too. I got lots of nuggets on that one too.
There you go. So to find more about the From Employed Entrepreneur series, you can check out colinyearwood.com. I'll have more up there about this series, colinyearwood.com. You can also search Facebook for the From Employed Entrepreneur group. Great community of people on the same mission, sharing resources, tools, and encouragement to help you on that journey of going from employed entrepreneur. Thanks for joining us on this series. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think about it. Take care.
Bye, guys.